You know, one of these days I'll get that fucking cover photo fixed. Yo. What's up?
Oh, we're talking now?
I think we're talking.
Okay. I don't see anything. You don't have your camera on. I don't see what we're looking at. So I don't know what the hell we're doing.
Unfortunately, I can't get the webcam to work with Discord tonight because some things set up for the streaming of Watkins Glen screwed up OBS, and fuck you OBS.
It happens. Well, welcome to the Off of Turn 1 podcast, guys. This is episode 16.
Holy shit.
I believe. We're in double digits now. We're almost 20.
We're almost legal.
Right. We're almost legal. Well, we're legal to drive. 16.
I can't drive 55. What?
That just hurt my ears. Never do that again.
No, I will do it again. I can't drive 55.
I had a feeling that was coming, so I turned you down. See?
The mute button is a beautiful thing.
Oh boy.
Right.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, we have got a lot going on tonight. We've got NASCAR stuff to catch up on. I want to talk about New Hampshire. This is the first time I've actually wanted to talk about a race this season. We're going to talk about that. We've got
You mean NASCAR was
to go over.
You mean NASCAR was actually exciting?
I mean, you said it was entertaining, so
yeah, the rain part.
This was the closest we've ever gotten to Tony Stewart's desire to take both the cars, or half the field, and send them around the track backwards till everybody wrecks out.
That's true. That's true. So we've got that to talk about. We've got Laguna Seca. We've got the 6 hours at the Glen, the real one. We've also got the 24 hours of Lemons. And we've got Formula to talk about, too. So we got a lot to cover today. A lot of opinions to go over. I don't care if it takes us 2 hours. We're going to get it done. So, where do we want to start?
I shot guns today.
Okay, well, we know you shot guns today, but where do we want to start? And that's relevant to the podcast here.
I say the biggest news of the week right now, and that's Michael Shank getting a 2-car program from Acura. Let's start there.
That is a pretty big deal.
And who called that? Other way. That way. There you go.
This one?
Yeah, and that guy right that way. But I'm happy for Shank getting the Acura program back, but I think that Acura is kicking themselves in the ass on this one because they really should give Chip Ganassi a car and keep one car at Shank, so Ganassi could sit there and take Honda to Le Mans. That's not happening now, at least in my eyes, unless Shank says, "Oh, I'm going to Le Mans." I don't think they have the funding for it, but we've seen weirder shit come from Michael Shank. The news
I just
that
don't get why you can't have 3 Acuras out there on the track at the same time.
well, you're not gonna have to worry about that because the rumor mill that's floating around right now is that Ganassi is bringing Hyundai to GTP. Oh. Not only did I read it on some Italian website, and that was rudimentarily,
Translated?
changed over. Yeah, translated. Thanks. We knew we keep you around for a reason. The
guy from Kentucky is good with words. Whoever would have fucking thought?
Yeah, right.
That's because you got that nice education. Anyways, they said that Ganassi could end up bringing Hyundai to IMSA, and it's like, wait, or to the big show. I'm sitting there going, what the fuck is this? But then it also goes along with the things that I've been hearing too, is that IndyCar was trying to find another manufacturer. Hyundai is starting to look heavy into IndyCar. Shh, you heard it here first.
And just to add to that point, it would not be Hyundai's first foray into prototype type race cars.
I was just about to ask that.
The thing that stands out in my mind, one of the Millen boys, it was either Rees or Rod, I'm pretty sure it was Rees Millen, at the Pikes Peak hill climb, drove a Hyundai, basically an LMP2 car by today's standards. This was back in the early 2010s, maybe late 2000s.
Early LMP2 as we know it right now. That's
right.
when it happened.
Like it was the similarities between that car and today's LMP2 were striking, and it was made to run up a frickin' mountain on uneven terrain right after after Pikes Peak had been paved, and the thing was a frickin' monster. So I'm interested to see what they come up with, not only for their designs, but to see who they put in the car and how well it does. A new manufacturer coming into a prototype program is going to be absolutely incredible. We have been feasting on this for so long when they started bringing out the LMDH and the GTP categories.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Gary, Joe, and I were drooling when they started showing off the Cadillac, the BMWs, the Acuras,
Mm-hmm.
the Peugeot without the rear wing, even though it turned out to be an absolute flop, is a beautiful car.
It's still a flop.
Like, they're allowing these designers to just go absolutely insane. So I'm super excited to hear that there's going to be a potential new manufacturer coming into a prototype.
Now,
and that's not mentioning Lamborghini or Ferrari also coming into IMSA next year, right?
Yes, and they're already racing with the FIA and the World Endurance Championship.
So I mean, them coming to America and doing Daytona next year at bare minimum. I don't know if they're going to do this full schedule or whatever, but that's going to be exciting.
There's talk that the WEC and IMSA events could end up possibly be part of the WEC championship.
And
they did it in the past.
Dual certified?
They
dual sanctioned, I should say.
Well, no, because the sanctioning rules are starting to get really close with each other. So it's not unprecedented to have the World Sports Car Series, and IMSA were working close with each other back in the late GTP / Group C days with the new WSC open cockpit prototypes. I just went through all this shit. Actually, earlier this week, sitting there watching all the videos for that. So because I caught wind that this was a potential item that was coming. 2026. You can mark your calendars for it, is going to be a pretty substantial year for sports car racing. 2025, there is a big possibility that there's other things, but
I mean,
I have to do this.
Think of the last 2 years that we've had in sports car racing. We've seen the Ford Mustang reintroduced to sports car racing in the GT3 category, which has been, even though they haven't, at least to my knowledge, won anything yet, freaking awesome. The Corvettes have gone to customer drivers, so they haven't left the sport completely. It's just no longer a manufacturer-run program.
Right.
We have all of these new prototypes coming out. Everybody's wanting to move into IMSA and WEC. The sports car stocks, or stonks, as the memes would say, are going to the frickin' moon right now. And we have an opportunity for a segue here. Speaking of Ferrari debuting their new GTP / LMDH program. How did the prancing horses fare at the good old French Le Mans?
They
Oh, yeah.
fucking won again.
Wasn't Toyota like? Didn't they really set the pace and dominate that race at Le Mans? Weren't they leading like
Okay,
16 hours or something out of that race or something?
Okay, well, seeing that 4 hours of that race was ran under rain and under pace laps, it was literally like every time I turned the race on, it was Cadillac was out front, Porsche was out front, Ferrari's out front. All right, the only ones you really didn't see out front were the Peugeot and Lamborghini. But Lamborghini had speed. Peugeot, hey, Peugeot, just go back to the 900 series shit that you were doing in GTP. Will be fine.
Yeah,
Just
go
throw
back
a hybrid, throw a hybrid system on it. MGU, done, over with.
Dude, bring
cylinder.
back your car from the early 2010s, the 2010 HDPI or whatever the hell you called it. That
What, the
absolutely,
diesel?
Yeah, the diesel that absolutely thrashed however many years ago. Throw a hybrid system on it and call it good. That car was one,
Oh,
beautiful, and
oh,
two, just awesome.
Hold, please. All right, when that Peugeot hybrid was around, this was right smack dab in the middle of the Audi R8, 10, and was it the whatever the last Audi prototype car was, the open cockpit car. But they came in right smack dab in the middle of that shit, and they were like, "Oh, we don't have our game together." And then Audi split, and Peugeot said, "Oh, we're here! Look at this! We have all kinds of cool shit." And that's what made them, that's what made them. But if you're a fan of Forza, the Peugeot was like the granddaddy of them all. It was the fastest car, which in real life it wasn't. But go on. Yeah,
I don't usually compliment any sort of French vehicles whatsoever because they just tend to be crap. I'm sorry, but unless you're talking about the Citroen 2CV that modernized the way suspension systems were done back in like the 40s and 50s, French cars really just haven't had much to offer to the racing world in quite a while.
I think it's yeah, it was the early 90s is when those Peugeot prototypes, those Group C prototypes were running amok, and even then Group C was such a clogged class. All right, it's pretty much the modern equivalent of GTP. All right, it was a clogged class, and Porsche just ran amok, and everybody just kind of said, "Oh, we need to come up with something a little bit better." And yeah, I think it was the 905s or something. I can't remember what the 900 series prototypes were called, but they were quick. They were really fast. But I do have to say this. I do need to shout out somebody. All right, we need to shout out the hometown team from where I'm from. All right, the great state of Illinois. All right, Autumn Oaks Racing, AO Racing, as everybody likes to call them. All right, this guy right here, Spike, over my left shoulder. Yeah, they took second place in LMP2 at Le Mans, and then turned around and backed it up at Watkins Glen the very next weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah. Way to go, PJ. I know you're not gonna watch my fucking podcast.
Congratulations, you are officially the second best thing to come out of Illinois aside from Joe Hutchings himself.
That's a fucking lie. Some people would say it's the politics, but we're not gonna go there.
Let's just say the bar on that end isn't very high. But
But actually, if you want to segue into this one, speaking of hybrids, IndyCar did their hybrid test at Iowa, and I haven't really got a chance to read into it all, but I guess Herta was pretty quick with the car, and the return reports from some of the drivers is that they're really happy with the hybrid system on the ovals. So I'm excited to see 800 plus horsepower in Indy cars next weekend at Mid Ohio.
I wish I could work that race. I would take the time off and go up there right now.
I have 4 days off next week, and I am probably thinking about going. Peyton, let's go! Gary!
You know what? It wouldn't be too hard for me to get my shift on the 7th covered, so we could just take a road trip up to Mid-O, and I could show you all the good places to hang out.
Oh, fuck. I don't have enough bail money.
Here's the good thing. You'd only have to bail yourself out. I'm not getting in trouble.
Hey.
Hey, if Michael Shank is there, we're getting drunk on his dime. Okay?
Oh, like you know Michael Shank. All right.
No, I don't. No. That was one. That's a wish. Although I have been to his bar. Anyways, more hybrid shit. Formula One, go!
All right.
I want to get to the exciting race.
Yeah, let's get to the exciting race. I will actually say, I watched the qualifying highlights with Gary shortly after they happened because I woke up late. Of course, I did on my days off. This was probably one of the best last-second snatches of pole that I have ever seen. Lando Norris comes out of frickin' nowhere. He was quick, but he wasn't within maybe a tenth and a half, 2/10 of Verstappen in practices or in the majority of qualifying. In the dying seconds, this man comes across and beats him by 0.02 of a second to take pole at the Spanish Grand Prix. If you have a chance to go back to the Formula One official website and listen to the call of this run for the pole, go back and do it. It is probably some of the most exciting content to come out of Formula One in quite a while, aside from Norris actually winning a race. Because let's face it, we all love to see Red Bull fail. But we love the fact that they're succeeding. I'm a Max Verstappen fan, but damn it, it was about time to see somebody else stand on top of that podium. Moving on to the race, had a very, very interesting start. Neither Max nor Lando got off to a very good start. Lando tries to cover off Max, pushes him into the grass, and George Russell threads the needle between Lando Norris and one of the Ferraris to take both Lando and Max around the outside into turn 1 to run off with the lead for the first few laps before Max deployed his Red Bull DRS and just proceeded to say goodbye. There weren't any safety cars, any sort of major shunts. There was a little bit of bitching and bickering between multiple drivers because everybody's diving into turn 1, trying to pull off the same move that George Russell or Max Verstappen did later on lap 3 to retake the lead. And people just trying to run each other off the track and, in general, being dicks, as Formula One drivers tend to be. Your final standings for the Spanish Grand Prix. Your top 10 are going to be Max Verstappen, of course, wins the race. Lando Norris on a recovery drive that should be commended if he didn't fuck up the start of the race. Would have been toe-to-toe with Verstappen throughout the entire race. Now, whether that comes down to Verstappen was just managing his lead at the end on the tire strategy that he was on, or if Norris actually had pace, we will never know, but we're just left to sit here and think of what could have been if he actually made it to turn 1 with the lead. Second place is going to be Lando Norris. Third place, Charles Leclerc. Fourth place, Carlos Sainz. Fifth, Sergio Perez. Holy crap, Perez is inside the top 5 for the first time in, 5 races.
What?
He's
What?
the man has been suffering. That man has been suffering ever since like the second or third race of the season. Good that he's up there, but he's still not living up to those Red Bull expectations. In 6th, you had Oscar Piastri. 7th, you had George Russell, followed by his teammate Lewis Hamilton in 8th. 9th, you had the hometown boy Fernando Alonso. And in 10th, Yuki Tsunoda once again scores points for the Red Bull Honda RBTP, or as for some odd fucking reason, as the commentators call it, the V-Card Honda. Why would you call it the V-Card car?
Sticky nuts.
Emotional damage.
And that's how you do it when you don't have sticky nuts.
No!
This is how you do it when you've not got sticky nuts.
Oh god, I love F1 commentary so much. The personality just makes up for the shit racing the majority of the season.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Sounds like the Fox broadcast production.
Oh shit! No, let's not talk about that. I was trying to avoid it.
For the crap that Fox pulls out. I saw you played a button. I'm not reacting. I just choose not to.
Oh, really? Oh my god! That was not me! That was not me! That was him! Him!
No more.
I refuse to talk about the Fox deal because NBC had the same fucking deal!
Holy shit!
Damn straight!
I mean, we could talk about how NBC completely dropped the ball, but I don't want to talk about it until later. But
No more watching IndyCar races on the cock!
we watched it on Peacock and we didn't have any problems.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
And-
Next
and
year, we're
that's
not
what
going to
I'm
see it on the cock anymore.
And that's what I'm worried
Oh.
about. The NBC broadcast of the IndyCar races has by far been the most consistent across the board for however many seasons they've had it.
Well,
Have they missed a couple things? Sure,
Sure.
but they were by far way more consistent than Fox has ever been.
well, let me
aside
just
from
say,
maybe the early 2000s, but that's going back 20 freaking years now.
well, let me just say this. IMS Productions is very heavily involved with NBC. So I don't see that changing when it goes over to Fox. Like, IMS is going to be very, very involved with how Fox does their broadcasts. So I don't think it's going to be as bad as what everybody's thinking. That's just my opinion. However, I will say they did drop the ball with the IndyCar coverage this week. When NASCAR was under a 2-hour rain delay, they could have at least gone over to the IndyCar race. And then once NASCAR came back, I would have forced them to CNBC because they were the ones that had the rain delay. IndyCar suffered for no reason. Now, I'm grateful that it was on Peacock. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining that it was on Peacock. But I think from the fans' aspect, you should have just had it on USA instead of just not covering half the race and then putting it on CNBC and just completely botching everything. I think NBC could have done a better job there. But I get it. They're the redheaded stepchild because they're going to be off their coverage, off their airwaves here in a few weeks. So
Redheaded step shit.
I was trying. It's been a long week, y'all. I'm sorry. But I mean, they are the redheaded stepchild out of the 3 series that they cover. Talking motorsports wise, NASCAR, IMSA, and IndyCar. They're the lowest of the low, and that they're going to be treated as such until they're off the NBC airwaves. Just is what it is. But
Can we
Kinda
talk
sad.
about the
think,
exciting
though-
race of the week?
I do think, though, regardless, that Laguna Seca was a very good race.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good.
The Alex Palou show, you mean?
Sure. Yeah, we
I
can
mean,
call it the Alex Pillow show.
Pillow just dominates that track.
So
Yeah.
I ran across something on
I mean, you know.
I ran across something on Facebook a couple of days ago, and I forgot to save it like an idiot. But I remember that the top 5, all right?
I'm a dumbass.
Thank you, Charles. The it showed like the top 20 drivers in the world, all right? Didn't take it took into effect, you know, the series that they're running and how well they're running in that series. And obviously, Max Verstappen number 1. All right. I didn't agree with number 2. I'm not even going to go there. You guys can figure it out yourselves. He drives a number 44 Mercedes. Exactly.
I'm sorry, what?
Exactly. But anyways, number 3 was kind of a surprise because it was Alex Palou. And right below him was Scott Dixon. Yes. They had Lewis Hamilton at number 2.
Mr. Chokes on IndyCar.
He hasn't done shit in 4 years.
3.
Whatever.
Joe's been counting.
Whatever. Who cares? He hasn't done shit in 4 years. Alright? Because Max Verstappen won that title in 2021. I get it. He had little assistance from, race control, a bunch of fucking idiots. But you get my point. Like,
oh yeah, I get the point. I'm just saying.
Max had a better year than Lewis up to that point. That's just my opinion, based on because that was kind of like one of the first years I started watching Formula One a little bit. But yeah, so I don't know.
Is this based on historically how they've done over the course of their careers?
I was gonna say,
or is this being done recently? Because if they're talking about recently, George Russell should be higher than Lewis Hamilton, because last time I checked, he's the only one that's won for the tri-pointed star in the last 3 years.
Hold on. George Russell wasn't even on the list.
I know he wasn't on the list.
That's the.
We haven't
all right.
even seen the list.
I will have to. I'm gonna go back through and dig it up, and I'll have it. I'll post it in the comment.
You gonna need to find that list.
I know dude. When I saw Lewis Hamilton at number 2, I'm like, are you fucking high?
I probably would have stopped reading the rest of that list, to be honest with you.
Well, no, they had some really good drivers that were like from. They had a DTM driver in there, a British touring car driver in there. Couple of NASCAR drivers were up in there. Obviously Kyle Larson was up there.
Right.
They had, it was a pretty definitive list, and you'd be happy too because Joseph Newgarden made the top 15.
Cheating bastard.
He's got 2 of those right there. How many do you have?
8.
1. Well,
How many of those?
8.
Okay, not you, Joe.
How many do I have in my house? How many do I have in my house? 1, because Wyatt saw it earlier today. Anyways,
But regardless,
right.
Lewis Hamilton at number 2.
I know. Lewis Hamilton. Okay, I said it. All right, go.
There we go. I was waiting for it.
Next.
Right.
God damn it! I want to talk about racing in the arena normal.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about it. Everybody's been waiting for my reaction on this one.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about the race, and I'm going to talk about silly season afterwards because I feel like that New Hampshire was way more exciting. I think if you want to make the Cup Series more exciting at short tracks, you just need to add water.
Oh, I almost had to mute your fucking mic.
That was very nice. I thought we were about to have millions and millions of what? Anyways, we don't talk about that here. So, but no, I thought the racing in the rain was really good. I mean, you could tell that the dirt guys were excelling because Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell just went straight to the front. Now, Christopher Bell's good at New Hampshire anyway. He's like the Jeff Burton of that track. For some reason, when he goes to New Hampshire, he runs really well. But I mean, just seeing how there were like 4 different lanes plus the apron. You had like 5 or 6 lines of racing total. I thought New Hampshire was probably the best race they had there, probably a little over a decade.
That race became absolutely fucking amazing when they went out on that damn track on the rain tires. Like I was sitting there going, oh wow! I stopped what I was doing to watch that shit. AJ's sitting there going, look at how wide they are. Sitting there looking at them all going into 3. They're fanned out across the whole fucking track. I'm like, damn, this is great.
There were multiple points of 5 and 6 wide racing, and like Joe said, they need to add sprinklers to the walls and just wet down every other short track that we go to, with the exception of Bristol, because that would not go well.
I volunteer to spread the cheer of all NASCAR fans.
You know how they have the water truck at the dirt track? Yeah, they're going to need to bring one of those.
Bring out a water truck every 15 laps. Wet the track.
Why are you guys wetting the track? Because the fans love it. Actually, hold on a second. Mr. Conspiracy Theory here. All I gotta do is fire up Harp a little bit higher, and it would just produce the rain.
I'll tell you one person that wasn't having a good time in the rain. Let's talk about Mr. Kyle Busch, who absolutely fucking destroyed himself under caution when he was trying to catch the field.
This is going to be such a bad comparison, but I'm going to use it anyway. Kyle Busch is starting to look like the Joe Biden of NASCAR.
Stop it.
Looks like he just needs to go.
Hey, don't ever compare anybody to Joe Biden. Other than comparing Joe Biden to Joe Biden. Ever canceled! Episode 50.
I don't know what it is with Kyle Busch. I don't know if he just needs to retire, but people are saying it's the car. Well, let's be real. Since they switched to the next-gen car, he hasn't run worth a damn anyway. And if you look at it since 2019 when he won his second title, he only won like 1 race in 2020. He only won like 1 or 2 races in 21, but dominated in Xfinity and truck. And then you look at 2022
he doesn't give a shit anymore. He's got his kid coming up. He don't give a fuck.
Then retire. Get out. That's why Harvick got out. Get out. Just get out of the car.
He ain't ready.
Go run some truck races. Go run trucks full time.
I'm not ready to set up a poster with a retire number 8 just yet. But I just have to say that was the most Cody Ware thing that I think I have seen since Cody Ware was banned from the racetrack. Like, that was horrible.
Yeah.
Gavin, if you're listening, this is not my opinion about Kyle Busch, just so you know.
I mean, I still think he's one of the greatest racers of all time. But if we're looking at a what have you done for me lately, he ain't done shit. I'm sorry. Like, you guys know me. I try to keep it real. Kyle Busch hasn't been relevant in 3 or 4 years, to be honest. In my opinion, he has not been relevant in 3 or 4 years.
He did start running really well with RCR in the beginning, and I don't know if he's just lost all that optimism and care for what he does in the future, but yeah, here recently it has been nothing but struggles for him.
I mean, they won, 3 out of the first 10 races or 12 races or whatever it was last season? Because they won Auto Club, he won and Talladega and Gateway.
I was at Talladega.
Like, he won those. He won those 3 races, and then he hasn't done anything since then.
Yeah, so it was Auto Club.
I don't know if other teams
Talladega,
just caught up, and then they're just playing, catch up again. But I think part of it is
it's typical It's typical RCR shit. That's all. It is
typical RCR post Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah. Well, even while Dale was around.
Post. I guess you could say post Harvick too, because they've been really like, and even before Dale passed. I mean, they weren't running as good. After '95, when they won their 7th title with Petrie, since Petrie left as a crew chief when he left the first time to go start his own team, they really weren't that good. I mean, just is what it is. But yeah, they got to do something different at RCR. I think part of it, and people are been using Austin Dillon as a scapegoat, but it's just like people are wanting to blame Austin Dillon for everything. I can't blame Austin Dillon. He was actually running top 15 yesterday or Sunday before he crashed. But people are saying, "Oh, it's all Austin Dillon's fault that Kyle's not running good." How is it? Kyle can't control what Austin's doing out on the racetrack. Like, I don't know, just thoughts I have in my head about that whole RCR thing. It's pretty disastrous. I almost want to tell, hey RC, sell your charters to Junior on a discounted rate, please. Like, I think it's getting to that point. But I don't think Richard Childress is going to pull out of the sport, even after he passes away. Let's be real, Austin and Ty Dillon are probably going to run that team
to the ground.
And then they'll sell it to Dale Jr.
And then there won't be anything left.
Right. Well, if they got the charters, maybe. I don't know. Are we going to have charters?
We might not have NASCAR next year, so...
We might not, yeah.
The rumor came out that the fucking teams are sitting there getting ready to split away, so who knows?
Yeah, and Eric Almirola's about to get fired from Joe Gibbs Racing because he punched Bubba Wallace in a meeting, I guess.
I mean, I punched Bubba Wallace too. Can't stop running his cockwasher about me. Don't let me go into the rest of the fucking jokes where that goes. But hey, you know, sometimes somebody needs to be jacked in the jaw every once in a while.
Like Kyle Busch. Oh. I'm sorry.
I mean, look, let's be fair. He deserved that hit.
Yes, he did. But I will say the way Kyle is at times, with how sarcastic and how smirky he gets with his facial expressions, I'm surprised he hasn't been gotten punched more in the face over his NASCAR career. Just saying.
You don't know if he has or not. Someone ran into him in a bar, gave him a shiner. You know, Samantha Bush sitting there pretty good with the fucking makeup. You don't know.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
You don't know.
Listen to that one, Gavin. There you go. I'm kidding. I will say outside of the car, and when he takes the fucking fire suit off and gets into street clothes and is just Kyle, I've heard he's a halfway decent human being. But I don't know.
I mean, how many other drivers can we say that about? Denny Hamlin,
Joey Logano.
Joey Logano was one of the coolest freaking guys that I have ever met in person.
Brad Keselowski.
I've met Brad K too. I mean, some of the guys that have the worst reputations on track are just awesome off the track.
Oh, Dale Earnhardt is another example if we want to go that route.
Yeah, I mean, to think that the reigning champion at the time, when I was working with the Kentucky Speedway, came to a safety summit that he didn't even have to go to, mind you. He and Rick Allen were key speakers at the safety summit where everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of the people from every racetrack came in to help train, to learn about the new cars, to talk and to find ways to make the sport better and safer. And Joey Logano was a keynote speaker, and instead of just dipping the second everything went out, he went around to the table, sat down, and had genuine conversations with people. And the same with Rick Allen. It was freaking awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, so again, shout out to those guys. You know, outside of the car, I've heard they're pretty cool people, but would people recognize them outside of the sport? Probably not, because that's where we are as a society, at least in the NASCAR world. So, silly season. Let's talk about that. We got a lot of that coming up.
Adios, Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, so Martin's retiring, so that's great. Chase Briscoe's going to the 19 car. We figured that out as a sneak peek last Friday, but announced this past Tuesday. It's not Chase Elliott, it's Chase Briscoe. I keep hearing this connection. I know we heard it a couple weeks ago with Justin Haley going to the 21, or we even heard Chase Briscoe going to the 21 at one point, but now it seems like Josh Berry is probably going to be that guy that goes to the 21 next season. Probably either him or Gregson, to be honest. the thing is, we
Gagson.
gotta look at the other side of the coin here with Barry. Does Rodney Childers follow Josh Berry wherever he goes? I think he does because he's a top 5 crew chief in the garage, in my opinion.
He's getting tired. I'm pretty sure he's gonna go to the house.
There's also that too.
I don't know. If you have an up and coming driver like Josh Berry, and even if you are nearing the end of your career, and he's going out there in, I wouldn't say lesser equipment, but he's adapting to that equipment very quickly, running almost every race. There has not been a single race this season that I have not seen him crack the top 10, top 5, or lead laps.
Well, and you could tell, like, when they go to a short track, like, Josh Berry's a natural at short tracks for obvious reason. That's what he's been running the last decade and a half. But, like, you could tell even with Stuart Haas last year with Harvick, they really only ran decent at the flat, shorter tracks. And then maybe the occasional mile and a half at, like, Kansas or Vegas or something like that. But, I mean, kind of where you're seeing where they already had a halfway decent setup with Harvick the last few years, you plug in Josh Berry and he runs just as good. So I think some of it is his driving talent because he definitely has some of that. But I also think Honey Childers is just that good of a crew chief too. It's just a shame that, he's kind of wasted Rodney's kind of wasted some of his prime years, with Stuart Haas's struggles. So, but I agree with you. I could see him either retiring or if this has rejuvenated his career, if he can go with Briscoe wherever he goes next, I could see Rodney going over there. If not, I could see him either retiring or being a competition director somewhere, probably.
Wait, you said he's with Berry or Briscoe?
He's with Josh Berry.
Okay, you said Briscoe. I got confused there for a
Did
second.
I say Briscoe? I'm sorry,
Yes.
I didn't mean to say Briscoe. I meant to say Berry. But yeah, it would be interesting to see if he would be able to follow him over there, wherever Josh Berry ends up going next. So Haas is not backing out of the sport entirely, y'all. We're gonna have the Haas Factory Billboard team. That's what I'm gonna call them.
Factory billboard. Fucking
saying,
love it.
I'm just saying, it's gonna be a billboard. I don't know if they're gonna be any competitive, but they're gonna have one Cup charter and 2 Xfinity teams. We've seen with Haas CNC Racing in the past before Stewart bought into them. They had a really solid Xfinity program or Busch program back in the day. Cup was hit or miss with the results depending on who was driving their cars. Honestly, I don't know who's going to drive those cars. People keep saying Cole Custer to the 00 Cup car, but I don't know. Could be somebody else. I've heard Cole Custer is rumored to go to front row into one of their Cup rides. Who knows? It'll be interesting to see who they get in the Cup Series and then who they put in their 2 Xfinity cars. I've heard for Xfinity that there's a lot of connections to Ryan Preece is going to drive for Haas in the Xfinity program next year. We'll just have to see what happens and how that unfolds. What do you guys think about that? Haas staying in the sport, keeping one car and running 2 cars in Xfinity.
Bold.
Mm.
Bold.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out.
I was kind of thinking that Haas was going to be around and they wanted to stay in the sport. I kind of had a feeling they were going to sell off 1 or 2. And then Gene would keep the other 2. But he wants to go down to a single car team and Cup. Really, the only single car team and Cup that's running worth a lick right now is JTG, but I think they're the only single car team and Cup. I think. Could be wrong. But they've also got heavy alliances with Hendrick, I think. So that helps them.
So it's technically a 5-car team, but we're not going to say the quiet part out loud.
Yeah, basically. So the other 2 charters, well, the other 3, I say other 2 because we know one's going to front row. That's been confirmed for months. Where do you think the other 2 charters go? I think one's going to Keselowski Racing. Or RFK, or whatever they're called. I think one's going to go over there. And I think the other one's probably going to go to Denny's team.
23-11.
I can agree with that.
I heard rumors about RCR getting that third charter, but they're not running good with 2 cars. Why would you expand if you can't run worth the lake with 2 cars?
He doesn't need a third charter anyways.
Right. I mean, unless they really wanted to put Austin Hill in a cup car. Or put Noah Gragson in a cup car, which
I
I think
would
he's going to front row.
savor the day that Austin Hill makes it into a cup car. Just because I want to see him try and pull his bullshit on a cup driver and just see him get his jaw jacked.
Worth it.
Like, it is... Don't get me wrong.
It kind of reminds me of Johnny Sauter.
Racing with the man, like I said, people have different personalities off the track than they do on the track. Racing with him on iRacing, thought he was a really chill guy. But his attitude over the past few years just has me saying, God, if you go into Cup and start pulling that bullshit, you are gonna get fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
With a
Okay.
vengeance, and very quickly.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. For sure. So yeah, I think it'll be 2311 in RFK. What car number RFK would run? I mean 60. They've been that before, but I could see them bringing like the 16 back. Maybe taking that
60
from
win
Kali
Dixie
Gord.
car. Let's go.
I want to see
That'd be
somebody take the
interesting.
57 car because I have never seen the 57 car running Cup competition. I don't believe.
It's happened with Norm Benning, late 2000s, the COT days, but he wasn't very fast. It's Norm Benning. I'm trying to think the last time the 57 ran a cup before that. I'm trying to remember. I know Jason Keller ran the 57 forever in Xfinity. Like, that was his number for, I want to say, at least half a decade. It was actually pretty good in 57. But I can't remember from, like, Norm Benning when he ran the 57 in the 09 500 when he attempted to qualify. I'm trying to think of a time where 57 was in the Cup Series, maybe back in the 50s or something. I mean, honestly, it's not a very well used number. Actually, I take that back.
It's used
'Cause
and
I remember-
abused.
I remember seeing this back. This is like 40 years ago when Osterland Racing came back after they pulled out in the middle of '81 with Earnhardt and them. He came back in like '85 or '86, and they ran the 57 because they had a deal with Heinz.
Let's see. Here is a table. So
But I don't remember who the driver was.
the 57 was run. Has not been run since 2003. The drivers were Kevin LePage and Brett Bodine, and if I remember correctly,
Right,
it was the BAM
CLR
car.
team.
The CLR and BAM were their sponsors.
Yeah,
Hold on,
yeah.
hold on a second. Was Kevin LePage in the 57 car at Talladega?
Yes, if I remember correctly, he was either in the 57 or the 58. So the only legacy my number has is causing a massive pile up.
When he caused that massive pileup, he was in the 61 in the Xfinity Series.
Joe's number.
No,
61,
I am the
not
60.
61. But Joe's number did get involved in that wreck. His name is Carl Edwards.
Sad face. Mr.
So-
Backflip.
Actually, 60 went over the 61. Literally in that wreck.
The
Anyways.
60 likes to fly a lot. I can't help it.
Right. But no, the 57, that was probably the last time they made a race was 03, but they attempted an 09 in the Daytona 500 with Norm Benning. Didn't make it because it's Norm Benning. But yeah,
Yep.
03. Yeah, the CLR car. Yeah, how can I forget that? I've played NASCAR Thunder 04 a lot here recently. So, but, yeah, so, go ahead.
You got a question of the week for us?
I do, but I wanted to touch on one more thing.
Okay. Touch.
Trucks are in Nashville, like right now, as we speak.
Let's go, Trashville! I mean, Nashville! Sorry, Grim.
Who do you got winning the race tonight in the Truck Series?
My ass.
I got Corey Heim. Clint Boyer for the memes, but
I don't. Oh my god, I forgot Clint Boyer's in that fucking race. Give me
he's
Clint.
in the stone truck. All right, there you go.
He's already 2+ beers in, anyways.
I'm going off of a stupid thing here. Nashville has blue walls. I'm thinking of a blue car. I think I'm going to go with Rajah Caruth.
All right, okay. Yeah, Peyton also picked Caruth, so there you go. You guys can share the same pick together. We got Xfinity Cup later on this weekend too at Nashville for the NASCAR, but we don't have to pick if you guys don't want to.
Are they at the Super Speedway or at the fairgrounds?
They're at the Super Speedway, all 3 series.
Fuck that. Burn that place to the ground and go to the fucking fairgrounds.
Good luck. Politics.
Yeah, good luck. They'd have to park all the haulers on the fucking soccer pitch next door to the...
Yeah.
It's a perfectly good parking spot, okay? You can get records later to pull them out.
You should know a thing or two here lately about politics.
People in the city don't like race cars.
You can't see my face right now, but when you look back at minute 51 and 10 seconds, motherfucker, you're going to see this and this. And I'm going to tell you to sit and spin for the second time.
Well deserved. Well deserved. So my question of the week, even though we really didn't talk about IndyCar this week, which is fine. My question of the week, with IndyCar debuting the hybrid package at Mid-Ohio, what are you interested in seeing at that race?
Can I go first? Can I go first?
Sure, go ahead.
Can I go first?
Yeah.
Okay. They get to have push to pass while using the hybrid system. Imagine sitting there, having energy, having over 800. Imagine having you're on a you're using the battery on top of the push to pass. It is going to look like people are standing still when they do some of these passes. I cannot wait. I am so fucking ecstatic to see these cars running wheel to wheel. All right, I am jealous of Peyton because he's actually seen the hybrid tests in real life. I want to see it. I really do. And like I said, I am really considering saying, fuck it, I'm going to Mid-Ohio because I would love to see that shit. I have been a proponent of hybrid vehicles, all right? Not full electric vehicles. All right. We knew the day was coming that hybrids were coming to IndyCar, and I'm actually excited for it. So, if you guys don't like it, get fucked. Scott, your turn.
No. Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
All right. So, I listened to IndyCar put out a thing, I think it was either today or yesterday, and they were saying that it works similar to what the GTP would be on iRacing. They have an automatic mode and they have a manual deploy mode for the batteries. I'm interested to see what kind of fuel numbers, if they're going to be able to use that hybridization to elongate their fuel strategies and open up more possibilities, on top of what Joe said, using the battery manual deploy on top of the push to pass to just have absolutely ludicrous speed going into the S's at Mid-Ohio. And my question for that would also be, how's that going to apply on the start? Because for those of you that don't know about Mid-Ohio, they don't start the race at Mid-Ohio at the start-finish line. They start it just out of the hairpin going down what they consider the back straight going into turn. Yeah, the keyhole. The keyhole is a separate part of the racetrack before the hairpin.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, so the keyhole is basically like a bus stop, similar to what Watkins Glen is, except it goes into the hairpin.
Okay. Gotcha.
But on the race start, if they have access to that manual deploy right off the rip at the start, how many people are gonna say, fuck it, we have new toys, we ball, let's see who makes it to turn 5 first? And how
Michael
many...
Andretti. Yee! End up in China Beach.
Yeah, and end up like, oh, good lord, who's still on
Simon
concussion
Pagenaud.
end up like Simon Pagenaud and just absolutely barrel roll the hell out of themselves. Which hopefully he's still recovering, because that wreck is still one of the nastiest things that I've seen since, I mean, hell, Pocono in 2019 when, God, why am I drawing a blank on his name? We watched him race at Indy when we went for the Battle at the Brickyard. Anyway, brain fart
Morad?
aside, no, not Morad. He was in the TCR car. He wrecked at Pocono, got paralyzed from the waist down.
Robert Wickens.
Robert Wickens, yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of the nastiest wrecks that we've seen since Wickens' wreck, and I hope that he is coming along in his recovery and hopefully can get back in the car or any car soon, even if it's not an IndyCar. But I have a feeling we're going to have a very, very contentious battle into the first corner of that race, so I will be watching that very intently.
Yeah, I think for myself, I've never really seen IndyCar racing with high horsepower. I mean, I've seen stuff on YouTube.
I've
Obviously.
showed you those races.
Yeah. As far as like getting to experience them, like remembering those, because I was like 3 years old. Okay, you're old, but
Old and
Bald and fat.
but I'm curious to see how that 800 horsepower is going to do. With the hybrid system and the the regular engine combined there. I think it's going to be interesting. Because when they use push to pass, they get what, 50 extra horsepower?
So it's 50 extra horsepower for the push to pass, and then I want to say they said it's going to be an extra 100 to 120 horsepower with the battery power.
Yeah,
so putting them over 800 horsepower.
If they activate the push to pass, or maybe 900 horsepower. That's gonna be interesting.
Well, we'll see when the Penske boys are blowing everybody's doors off on a restart. Cheaters!
Yeah. The only reason Newgarden has 2 Indy 500s is because he had the hybrid system early. New conspiracy theory. Everybody subscribe to it.
Hey! They got the mini beast. See, no, kidding.
Nothing will ever beat the beast.
But I am genuinely interested to see, when those guys have that push to pass, they're gonna have more power than these guys have had in a long time in IndyCar. So I'm curious. I'm anxious in a good way to see what kind of product we're gonna have, because those cars are gonna be harder to drive with the hybrid system on there. They're gonna have to use more finesse than what they've probably had to do in a while. Can
I tell you something? All right, this
sure.
Interesting fact that just popped in my brain. There is only one driver in the entire field that has ever raced with a high horsepower Indy car.
I already told you the name.
I know! You ruined my thunder! Asshole.
Here comes another Scott Dixon thing. Here we go. No.
Welcome to the Off and Turn 1 podcast, where when we talk about Scott Dixon, you hear Joe go...
Fuck you.
I almost got Gary to do a spit take there. Damn it. I was so close.
Hey, Scott's gonna be real mad during the Formula 1 thing when he goes and watches it back, though.
Oh, God.
Hi.
Anyways, I think we're going to end on that note. But seriously, great show tonight, guys. Good job. Good work. Always a lot of fun with y'all, talking about racing and talking and just breaking things down. I know I was kind of useless in the first segment there with the sports car racing, but that's where I take the time to learn and enjoy what you guys are talking about there. So, but yeah, I think I'm really excited for what IndyCar is going to bring here in the next few weeks. I'm excited to see what sports car racing's going to like here in the next couple of years, because that's going to be interesting with all the new manufacturers and whatnot. But with that, we're going to sign off here. It has been fun. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. If you do decide to listen and watch, it's great. It's on YouTube. Thanks again, AJ, for allowing us to crash on your channel on All Star 15 TV on YouTube. And we will see you guys in the next podcast. Stay safe, stay classy, and Scott Rambler eats corn the long way.
God damn it, he beat me to it. Fuck.
Oh, I beat you all to it earlier.
As long as there's butter on it, I'll go for it. I don't like corn anyway, but fuck it.
What was that whole thing about the... Bye.